Hello everyone, this is Sumit here, and today we are going to discuss the basic concepts of auditing and assurance. And I guarantee you that it would be discussed in such a simplistic manner that it will help you to create a great foundation of further detailed audit concepts that's going to follow. So let's begin. Hi friends, so you can note there are two terms. One is auditing, the other one is assurance. Both of them has different meaning. So what people mean when they say auditing? Sometimes they think it's like examining, it's checking, it's testing, but they want a result out of this. They want some kind of assessment out of the examination or the testing or the checking. And that result is opinion. Alright? Let me give you another example. We'll come to the financials later, but let's take this. So assume this is a patient, and here there is a doctor, and doctor is in his clinic. Excuse me for my writing because I think I am too old now to change it. So the patient thinks that he is unwell and he goes to the doctor to get examined if he has any issues. Now the doctor, what he does is he checks his body temperature. He also does a check of BP. He also lists down some tests to be performed, like blood test and other test, and ask him to come after a week. Now after the week, the doctor has the results of the tests and he has other details of the patients as well. So on the basis of these test results, doctor has two news. Either he can say that the patient is good, no problem at all, or he can say that he can find that there is some problem, there is some health issue which has to be taken care of. So here if you see, when the doctor confirms whether he has any issues with the health, he is doing well or he has some problems, this is his opinion based on the test that he has done. And again, he is relatively confident because doctor cannot be 100% sure, because he also knows there are limitations of the test. It's not exact science, right? So this opinion which the doctor gives is called assurance, and the process that he has performed of this examination is called audit. So you can see audit is a process, the process taken by the doctor, and assurance is the product, is the opinion given by the doctor. In financial terms, we always use the word reasonable assurance. Why is that? Right? Reasonable assurance, which means pretty high level of assurance, but not 100%, not absolute, not absolute. This is very important, guys. So please remember that when we talk about financial statements, we say about reasonable assurance, which is relatively high level of assurance, but it is not absolute. Why it is not absolute? Because all the testing that one performs is based on sampling. You cannot do 100% of the checking of each transaction. So for example, Amazon, you know has millions of transactions throughout the year. Now the auditor cannot go and test each of the million of transactions to see whether it has been booked correctly or not. But what he can do is, he can take a sample which is representation of the overall population, right? And when you do sampling, you are not doing 100% test. So you should not use the term absolute, but you should use the term reasonable. Again, there is one more interesting fact over here, that when we talk about accounting, it's not direct fact. Some things are based on estimations, like the provision obligation of a company that they need to pay, or depreciation, or the valuable life of the assets that they have. So since the estimations are involved, it's not fact based. If I tell you what is 2 plus 2, you know that's very easy, it's 4, you are sure. Or whether we can say whether I'm wearing blue or black, you can be pretty sure which color, because it's fact based. But in finance, sometimes we use estimations, we use the policies, which gives them options to choose between different methods of accounting, and we also do sampling. So it's not an absolute assurance, it's a high level assurance. So let's move ahead to see what exactly is the definition of assurance. So as you can observe, it says a practitioner, just give me a sec, expresses a conclusion, which we also said it's an opinion. Now who is a practitioner? Practitioner is someone who is authorized, who is certified to do a defined and specific task on which he has obtained the practice. So the most important thing is that he should be independent. What does this imply? This means that he should not be influenced or having any kind of bias towards his work. He should be having zero conflict with his work. That's why people can rely on him. He should be unbiased and he should be objective in his approach, right? Designed to enhance the degree of confidence of the intended users. Now let's take the example of financial statements. As you know, board or the management prepares the financial statement. Auditor audits it whether it's correct or not and submits its reports to the shareholder. So why we want an independent person to submit their report to certify the financial statement? See, the management, so this is management or directors, they prepare financials. And you have the shareholders here, right? So now what happens is, management, when they prepare the financial statements, maybe their bonuses, their incentives might be based on the overall income of the company, and they might be influenced to make the company have higher income, to fudge the accounts so that they get personal benefit out of it. Even their evaluation might be based on a good performance by the company. So this can be biased, and that's why auditor comes into the picture. He does an independent review assessment of the entire financial statement and sees whether it gives materially a true and fair view. Shareholders, on the other hand, receives the opinion from the auditor in his report, and the management are accountable to shareholders because they have an agency relationship. What does an agency relationship means? That management or directors are working on behalf of the shareholders, and shareholders want to see whether the agents are working as per the requirement and they are not manipulating anything so that they are not aware of. And that's why the auditors comes into the picture, and that's why we talk about the enhanced degree of confidence, because when there is an independent person, there is an enhanced degree of confidence involved. About the outcome of the evaluation or measurement, that is the examination done by the auditor of a subject matter, which is the financial statement, against a criteria which is a financial reporting framework, that can be accounting standard, which we also called as GAAP. Because anytime if you see, all the examination can be of a subject matter only against a criteria. If there is no criteria, it's very difficult to evaluate and give certification on exactly what in an objective manner what you have tested, right? Now you can see that there are two types of assurances. We already talked about reasonable assurance, and the other part is limited assurance, which means plausible in the circumstances. What does plausible mean? Plausible means reasonable. Now to explain limited, let's again take the example of the doctor and the patient. So here we have the patient and here we have the doctor. But in this case, patient was feeling unwell, but he does not go to his clinic. The doctor is his neighbor. So he just drops in, and asks, like, I'm not feeling that well. Can you just check me preliminarily so that you can tell me what exactly the problem is? Doctors welcomes the neighbor because they are good friends and say why not. But he lacks his tools and equipment. So what he does is he does a high level of checking wherein he checks his body temperature, he checks his nerves. He might ask him to open his mouth and see inside, like, ah. But he is not able to do any test like blood test or other kind of test. And on the basis of this examination, the doctor might say that I don't see anything that you are unwell. So what does it mean? It means that here the doctor gives a limited kind of assurance because he is less confident. Let me go to another slide. Reasonable versus limited. So in the first scenario, in the reasonable scenario, you see the doctor did detailed testing. In the limited one, he did preliminary checking or high level, not detailed. Number two, here he was more confident because here he said either you have any problem or you don't. Or don't, right? In this case, he is just suggesting that there is nothing came to his attention which will make him feel otherwise, right? Again, sorry for my writing, guys, I cannot change it at this age. So here we are saying that he was more confident. Here he is saying the other way, that nothing came to his attention that he feels otherwise, or we can say he is less confident. Another example, like if I ask someone, am I a good boy? And if he answers yes or no, he's quite positive about his answer because he's definite. He's saying yes or no, if I am a good boy or not. But if he answers, you're not that bad, so there it's not a positive assurance, it's kind of a negative assurance, right? So that negative assurance falls under the limited category. Now here we can say this is positive, means either yes or no. Here it is negative, which says nothing has come into the attention which makes him feel otherwise, or he cannot see anything that he might think that he is unwell. Now the last point is these can be done for financial statement, which we also call external audit or statutory audit, which is obligated by the law. Here it can be for the forecast, like if company has to borrow some money from the bank, but he has to get his accounts and future forecast attested by a practitioner so that they can obtain the loan. So here the forecast is based on future expectation, and future expectation you can only do limited testing, you cannot do 100% or detailed testing over that. Or another example might be interim accounts, wherein you are not checking the full year end but you are checking 6 monthly accounts. So here again you will not use the detailed methodology, because again at the year end you are going to do that. Here you will just do high level, which again will give you a, with the base of the limited testing, you will give that nothing has come into your attention, that the accounts are not true and fair, right? So let's look at the detailed differences. So here in the first one we draw reasonable conclusions, and here we draw limited. Here it says that the subject matter confirms in all material respect, because we are more confident. Here, because it was preliminary high level, we said that the subject matter with respect to the identified suitable criteria is plausible in the circumstances, which means it's reasonable. Okay, this is positively worded, this is negatively worded, this is high level, this is moderate or lower level of assurance than audit. Here performs very thorough procedures, here performs significantly fewer procedures, mainly inquiries and analytical procedures. Analytical procedures again is a kind of a comparisons between financial and non-financial data which are related in some manner. And the last one is the financial statement gives a true and fair view, whereas here we say nothing has come to our attention that causes us to believe that the financial statement are not prepared in all material respects in accordance with an applicable reporting framework. Right? So now that you have understood the assurances, again assurance is the opinion, audit is the process, it's the examination. Assurance is more of an umbrella term and audit is just part, is like one of types of assurances. So now that we have learned about what is auditing and what is assurance, let's move to the next video where we are going to see the technical definition of auditing. We are also going to see what is the meaning of true and fair, and a very important term, my friends, that is materiality, because we always said reasonable assurance in context of true and fair view in all material respects. So it's very important, and next video we are going to discuss these key terms of auditing, and I look forward to be engaged with you in the next one. Thanks.